Let's all act on the Prime Minister's urging as we continue to practice hurricane readiness in trying times. We continue our Jamaica Magazine offering with some hurricane tips, followed by the news.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, June 7, 2021. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says more unattached youth are in line to benefit from a planned expansion of the Jamaica National Service Corps, JNSC.
We recognize that we need to place far more resources into programs like these. But our economic circumstances, such as particularly with the pandemic, it caused us to divert priorities and resources. And so the intake was not as we would have wanted it this year. But as soon as we return to normal, we will have to increase the intake. And eventually, the policy position would be to have this program universal for those who do not have other prospects of attachment.
Mr. Holness was speaking at Friday's certification ceremony for the JNSC Intake 2020-01, the program's 9th batch. 260 recruits successfully completed the year-long training program, but due to the coronavirus protocols, only 24 graduates were allowed to attend the ceremony. The Jamaica National Service Corps is administered by the Jamaica Defence Force as part of the HOPE program. Since its rollout in 2017, over 4,000 youngsters have been impacted. Jamaicans can now expect to see improvements in the court's ICT infrastructure, following a donation of $20 million to procure equipment for the establishment of a video conferencing system. The Universal Service Fund, USF, is donating the funds to the Court Administration of Jamaica. A contract for the agreement was signed last Thursday. Chief Executive Officer at the USF, Daniel Dawes, says this is part of the fund's overall investment in the country's ICT infrastructure, which will this year total approximately $1.9 billion. Chief Justice Brian Sykes welcomed the investment, saying equipping courts with the necessary technology, coupled with the training of staff, will improve the efficiency of courtroom proceedings. The Dangerous Drugs, Cannabis Import and Export Licensing Regulations 2020 is now in the final stages before promulgation. That update is from the chairman of the Cannabis Licensing Authority, CLA, Levon Flynn. He was addressing the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation's recent webinar, Candid Conversations on Cannabis, Jamaica's Place in the Multi-Billion-Dollar Growth Industry. He says that while the industry awaits promulgation of the regulations, the CLA has put interim measures in place for the importation and exportation of cannabis. Among the measures is issuing licensees with a no-objection letter that allows them to export ganja flower and ganja oil once the licensee has received an import permit from the receiving country and meets all local requirements. Mr. Flynn says 26 exports have been processed since 2019 using the interim protocols. Transport Minister Robert Montague says the authorities are far advanced in identifying a solution to address concerns regarding the toll road in Mami Bay, St. Anne. The Toll Authority of Jamaica is working with the National Works Agency to address issues concerning where persons exit the toll.
The end of that toll road in Mami Bay is of concern to many. As you end or begin a highway at a roundabout, and when you are exiting, you are coming downhill and do not have the right of way. We are in discussions with the NWA, the National Works Agency, to correct this, and a possible solution is far advanced.
Minister Montague gave the update during a recent address to Parliament. Government has committed to recovering the approximately $2.8 million that is owed to the Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited for bauxite already shipped. Mining Minister Robert Montague says while partners in the New Day plant are behind in some of their commitments, the ministry is committed to carefully guarding the people's financial assets.
These funds belong to the people of Jamaica, and we intend to use all legal means to collect. We have agreements and we have laws, and we intend, with the advice of the Attorney General's chambers, to use them.
He says later this year, when it is legally allowed, the government intends to renegotiate the establishment agreement, which will allow them to maximize on the earnings from the bauxite industry. He says the ministry is also moving to audit mining operations at Jamalco. And finally, there will be greater order at the Mona Heights Primary School in St. Andrew following the construction of a new parking lot on the premises. Minister of Education Favour Williams welcomed the development during its official opening ceremony recently.
This is a step in the right direction to bring about order in the mornings, especially when we're back in the face-to-face mode for Mona Heights Primary.
The parking lot was funded by the National Works Agency at a cost of $7.5 million. Acting principal of the institution, Alex Hepburn, says it will greatly benefit the school and its environs.
Because there will be no more dropping off and blocking the gate, but there will be order. The security guards will be at the gate and will be able to monitor everything that happens.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
Up next, a rundown of the priority areas within the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation.
Improving access to potable water, greater management of lands, and the continued build-out of the island's road network. The major objectives of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation this fiscal year.
There is no doubt in my mind that this ministry is central to all that we as a government wants to and intend to accomplish for Jamaica and its people through growth and development.
Find out how next. In addition to the approved National Water Sector Policy and Implementation Plan, the ministry has been undertaking water projects across the island. Among them, non-revenue water reduction programs in the Kingston metropolitan area and Portmore, along with increasing the supply capacity from the Rio Cobre water treatment plant. The perennial issue of drought is also being tackled through a review of the drought management plan.
The review process is far advanced and it is anticipated the plan will be completed in this financial year.
Water quality and availability studies are also being carried out in St. Catherine, St. Elizabeth, and St. Anne. A water purchase agreement is being pursued for the content water treatment plant in St. Catherine. The installation of water and sewer lines along Spanish Town Road is slated for completion by December, and work continues apace on distribution plans for the Caymanas Estate development area.
The government is working assiduously to ensure that Jamaica's water resources will be available for generations to come. As we remain committed to this task, we call upon citizens to do their part in protecting and conserving our water resources. We are building towards a future of sustainability.
And so, the National Environment and Planning Agency recently completed the draft management and zoning plan for the Black River Protected Area. The conservation of biodiversity is also being promoted in the Negril Environmental Protection Area and the Cockpit Country. The $38 million new Negril Master Plan is complete.
The objective of the Master Plan is to make the new Negril area a model 21st century community by creating a smart, sustainable and resilient, technology-driven, inclusive community.
In line with the planned development thrust, the Negril Green Island Area Local Planning Authority will acquire a drone to track development. The island is now covered by at least one provisional development order. The Jamaica Development Applications Portal for Electronic Submissions pilot program is ongoing in St. Andrew, St. Anne and St. James. And Jamaica's Development and Investment Manual is being updated in the year.
The systematic titling process is targeting privately held land at a community scheme level and will operate alongside the existing voluntary system of registration of lands.
10,000 titles will be delivered in this year. Aiding in this drive is the implementation of the electronic systematic adjudication system, development of 25% of the national digital cadastral map, and digitizing existing titles under the electronic titling project.
3 of the 4 buildings will shortly be delivered, and the 4th will be completed by the end of July 2021.
That's the latest from the first 2 phases of redevelopment and expansion of the Garmex Free Zone. Construction on the Morant Bay Urban Center and the Boundbrook Industrial Estate are to commence later this fiscal year. And redevelopment plans are being finalized for the Nagahead Tech Park and the Hayes Free Zone. Over at the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, projects worth $1.3 billion will get underway, creating an additional 400 acres of space.
The future of sustainability, structural innovation, and investment opportunity is in a safe hand.
The Jamaica International Financial Services Authority will prioritize the passage of 3 key bills and their regulations.
It is well known that the government has been on a major drive to improve the island-wide road infrastructure.
As a result, the 2-part Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project is on in earnest. The Maypen to Williamsfield extension of the East-West Highway is 22% complete. $1.2 billion has been set aside for work to start on the Montego Bay Perimeter Road. An additional $133.9 million will be dispersed to complete the Harborview to Port Antonio leg. Vehicular movement and pedestrian safety will be prioritized on roads in the Kingston metropolitan region. The $500 million pilot Lengthman program will target the roadway between Dunrobin Avenue in St. Andrew and Twickenham Park in St. Catherine. And $101 million has been set aside for the National Works Agency's pre-hurricane mitigation program.
We remain committed to the task of taking this country and its people towards a future of sustainable structural innovation, engineering creation, and investment opportunity.
As we close out the observation of CPR Week, watch this video to increase your awareness on how to properly administer this life-saving technique.
Oscar! Oscar! Oscar!
Though this is a dramatization, it has happened quite often. In the field, at home, or at work, a loved one collapses and is unresponsive. What follows? Usually chaos, confusion, heartache. Instead of immediately providing that critical resuscitation technique which may prevent death.
CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It is a skill that is an emergency skill that is used to revive someone whose heart has stopped beating. Cardiac arrest can happen to anyone at any time. In the event that happens, you need to know the skills that you need to perform to revive these persons or give these persons a chance of survival.
We never know when we can really in a situation where we need to help someone else. It's really just a little bit of your time, and I think it would be a worthwhile investment in learning these skills so we can render assistance.
Even when someone is choking, the techniques learned in CPR may be applied to save that person from asphyxiation. To release the person's airway, position yourself behind them and clasp your fist at the navel and roll in an upward motion. When someone is unresponsive, that's a whole other ballgame. The person may become unresponsive for several reasons. For instance, they could have a medical condition. To really know if someone is unresponsive and in need of CPR,
Tap the person's shoulder and shout, "Sir, sir, sir," or "Ma'am, are you okay?" Once the person is not responding to you, and they can respond in several forms. They can answer by moaning, they can groan, they can open their eyes, they can move a limb. If the person is not responding to you, now you need to scan the chest and look if you see breathing. Once the person is not breathing, they are termed as being unresponsive. So once you have somebody collapsing, the first thing you need to do is check your environment, ensure that your environment is safe for you. Once the environment is safe, now you need to assess the person who has collapsed. Once someone is unresponsive, has no signs of life, call for help and bare the person's chest. So you remove their upper garments. Find your hand position, it's on the lower half, center of the chest, lower half of the breastbone, and you push in 30 times at the Bee Gees song, that's Staying Alive. Ha, 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 Staying Alive. If you are trained, after 30 compressions, you can give 2 breaths. If you are not trained, you don't know about CPR, you give hands-only CPR. So hands-only CPR is where you compress the chest. You need to continue that on the way to the hospital, so you're maintaining cells' life.
It's possible for anyone and everyone to learn CPR.
Nannies, construction workers, teachers, lawyers, doctors, everyone should learn CPR. Once you're able-bodied, you can learn CPR.
In terms of age, it's said as young as 12 years old can learn the art to save a life.
So many times, children get in situations that they need assistance. In fact, a cousin of mine, her son got into some distress. She realized that he wasn't breathing one day, and she was able to help him by giving him CPR. So I think that was really important that she had those skills so that she could assist her son, because who knows what would have happened if she wasn't able to give him that immediate assistance.
This course, I've done it before, and I find it very interested because I work a lot with children, and one time I have to do a CPR on a little boy because there was leave under my care and mother wasn't around, and he was eating some plum and playing on a plum seed, stabbing his throat, and I just hear him coughing, but it never very severe because he was coughing. So when he was coughing, I hold him up and I try to do a little, I understand the CPR, tell him to cough. And he cough and cough until it actually come up.
I had a patient once, and while I was there in the bathroom with that person, the person just fell unconscious, and I was there, didn't know exactly what to do, but I was there saying, "Sir, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I didn't know much, what to do, but I decided to put the person on the side, and I was there trying to stop the person, Then I was saying to myself, if I had known CPR well enough, I could perform it.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is one of the several local organizations that offer training in CPR.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is an authorized training center for the American Heart Association. We offer CPR training for medical and non-medical persons. We have our scheduled in-house training, and organization can call us to schedule classes at their convenience.
CPR!
The National Social Housing Program is on in earnest, with 29 homes completed and another 15 to be delivered by next month. Find out more about the government's program to give more vulnerable groups a place to call home.
Providing safe, adequate and affordable shelter has always been a preoccupation of the government. This commitment can be seen through the mandates of the National Housing Trust, the Housing Agency of Jamaica and the Jamaica Mortgage Bank. The thrust to provide housing for all Jamaicans can also be seen through the work of the Ministry of Local Government and now the National Social Housing Program. The National Social Housing Program is an extension of the Housing Opportunity Production and Employment Program, HOPE. It was developed in 2018 to improve the housing conditions of the country's poor and indigent.
The idea is to support the development of affordable housing solutions right across Jamaica.
The National Social Housing Program, NSHP, achieves its objectives in 3 ways.
The first is the provision of indigent housing. The benefits will be equitably distributed across 63 constituencies, with each constituency receiving 5 units per annum. Then there is the relocation of vulnerable communities. Persons whose lives are in imminent danger will be given priority attention. And then the third modality is the upgrading of tenements, or as we call them, big yards. One such project will be undertaken in each constituency where we can identify tenement yards.
The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has oversight for the NHSP, which is administered by a secretariat. Formed in 2019, the secretariat is headed by National Director Danville Walker. The NHSP delivered its first house in 2019. Since then, 29 houses have been completed at a cost of $250 million. They include 12 3-bedrooms, 11 2-bedrooms, 2 1-bedroom units, and 1 tenement yard, which impacted 3 families. With over 70 persons benefiting from the new social housing program, plans are in place to give even more Jamaicans similar access. 15 units are currently under construction and are on track to be completed by July.
The program is designed to address people who are in need, people who can't get houses going the regular method, but it is also designed to bring hope to communities that are in need of such interventions. So if we can make an impact on this kind of housing situation, then we would have started well down the road to address the issue of housing poverty.
Today's World Food Safety Day, and the theme is Safe Food Now for Healthy Jamaica. In celebration of this, we highlighted the work of the Plant Quarantine Branch of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries.
Our primary responsibility is twofold. We have responsibility for the prevention of introduction of any plant pests into Jamaica that may affect not just agriculture but also our environment. But of course you understand the importance of it affecting agriculture, because agriculture remains one of the major drivers of growth in this country. Our other major function is that we do the certification of exports, that's agricultural exports leaving Jamaica. Again, another major responsibility, because the export of agricultural produce, of course, is also important to Jamaica and Jamaica's economy. So we have those two. We execute our functions really by doing one of two things. We provide import permits for the import of all plants and plant products, and that's how we ensure that whatever risk these plant and plant products pose, then we're able to actually indicate to our trading partners what's Jamaica's requirement. And when that product would have entered Jamaica, we also do inspection. On the other hand, we do the certification and treatment of agricultural produce, again, the yam, the scallion, the Irish potatoes, etc., leaving Jamaica to other countries. We also work with our stakeholders in ensuring that we constantly monitor the pest status, and that is of new pests into the country. Maybe one of the recent pests that we had introduced into Jamaica would have been the frosty pod rot of cocoa, and that would have been in our recent memory. And so we work with the other divisions of the ministry, particularly the Research and Development Unit, in actually executing our function. All right, so one of the agencies that we work with will be the Customs Authority. And we say that they perform agency function for the Plant Quarantine Branch. And so they do have X-ray machines where they're actually looking for agricultural items at the port of entries. So that includes both the seaport as well as the airports.
We're in an age now of commerce, e-commerce, where we can shop online. We carry the beauty of our home, the comfort of our home, and we buy anything online. But the threat posed with that is that we still need to protect our border. So things can come straight to your doorstep. However, you still need to apply for import permit. The beauty of a planned quarantine unit is that now we also are technology savvy. So the import unit also you can apply for import permit online. So you can just go to the Ministry of Agriculture, MOA Trade website and apply for your permit. So whilst you're shopping online in the comfort of your home, use the same comfort and apply for your import permit. Secondly, we're looking at seeds. Seeds nowadays are easily packed, they are small, easily hidden, and those are contraband that can come into the country. We want to ensure that ministry is driving production. So everybody wants to bring in seeds. However, these seeds still need to have an import permit. Tourism is there, as we all know, is our bread and butter. And it is we can't do it without tourism. However, if we destroy the sector, our tourism is also going to destroy. Everybody wants to see Jamaica being beautiful, right? So we implore on the tourism sector, all the players in it, to ensure that they tell their tourists to ensure that when they come to the country, keep their fruits and vegetables on board, whether it's on the ship or in the aircraft. Because we have a situation on the cruise ship when people going back onto the ship, we are seeing a proliferation of fruits and vegetables. So what we're asking you to do is just ensure that enjoy it on board, don't take it. Because we have a situation in our neighboring country where one of the major food fly, but which if we get that, the entire country's export is shut down. That has been, has introduced to that country by way of tourism. They have proven that. Traceability have allowed them to do that. So we want to employ on the tourism sector. We need it, but at the same time we need to protect our sector. Another thing that we need to have farm worker. Farm worker, we all need that. I mean, the farm worker, they move from different countries. And one of the things with farm workers is that everything they want to keep at the Jamaica to plant. Everybody wants to go. Jamaica, the climate here is conducive to production. So go and take everything. Don't hide it in your shoes. Don't hide it in your jacket. Just apply for import permit.
And something works perfectly in England. England is not Jamaica. You know, even if you bring in a new variety and they say it's supposed to grow well in this temperature, you have different situations in Jamaica. Besides the climate, you also have the social behavior of farmers. While you may always plant your plants in Manchester, that's where it's predominantly grown, it may grow fine there, but if you want to plant it in St. Thomas, it may not. And these are the type of things that the research division now investigates. So it's not only at our local area in Old Harbour, but we also do the research in other farms over the island to ensure that wherever you carry it, it would actually work. And if it doesn't, you knew beforehand.
It is illegal for you to bring any plant product in the country without a permit. You'll be fined and you'll be sent to prison if you do not adhere to the law.
If you intend any at all to import any plant and plant product, and we say to you, if you're not certain whether or not you need a permit, call the Ministry of Agriculture Plant Quarantine Branch and we will be able to advise you. We do have a Facebook page, we do have a Twitter page. So any means that you use to communicate with us, we will get that information to you.
And that's all we have for you today on this station. We return tomorrow around about the same time with more information you can use to better your daily lives. We maintain a strong online presence. There's gis.gov.jm and social media, including YouTube. We also have a mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire team at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.